Bill Self is usually at his best when he has real talent, but also older guys who understand how physical college basketball gets. That is what makes this Kansas team interesting. This is not just a young team built on hype, and it is not just a transfer portal team trying to fill holes. It is a blend. And in the Big 12, that matters. You cannot survive just by looking good on paper. You have to win ugly games. You have to rebound when shots are not falling. You have to defend without fouling. You have to get stops on the road when the crowd is loud and nothing is going your way. Kansas looks like it has enough pieces to do that. The first place you start is Tyron Stokes. He comes in as the #1 recruit in the country, and that is not just because of hype. He is 6'7", around 230 pounds, and he already has the body of a college player. He spent time at places like Prolific Prep and Rainier Beach, and everywhere he has been, the same thing has stood out. He is bigger and stronger than most wings, but he does not play like a regular forward. He can handle the ball, pass, attack in transition, and guard different positions. Kansas can use him on the wing, play him at the 4, let him attack slower defenders, or just give him the ball when the play breaks down. That is why he changes this team. He gives Kansas a player who does not have to fit into one box. I predict Tyron Stokes averages 17 points, 7 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal, and 1 block per game. I think he leads Kansas in scoring and becomes the main matchup problem. Then you have Taylen Kinney, and he's important because Kansas needs another guard who can actually run offense. Kinney is from Newport, Kentucky, and he played at Overtime Elite, where he put up strong numbers as a scorer and playmaker. He's a 5-star level guard, a McDonald's All-American type talent, and the biggest thing with him is that he gives Kansas another real decision maker. Freshman point guards usually need time, so I wouldn't expect him to be perfect right away, but he has the speed, handle, and feel to keep the ball moving. He can score when he needs to, but his biggest job will be getting Kansas organized, pushing tempo, and making sure the offense doesn't get stuck. I predict Taylen Kinney averages 6 points, 2 rebounds, 4 assists, and 1 steal per game. I think his value comes more from playmaking than scoring. Leroy Blyden Jr. might be the guard who makes everything easier. He's coming in from Toledo, and he already proved he can play at the college level. Last season, he averaged over 16 points, 4 assists, and 4 rebounds, while shooting over 40% from 3 and over 84% from the free throw line. That matters because Kansas is not just guessing on him. There's real college production there. Blyden can play on the ball or off the ball. He can run pick and roll, spot up when Stokes attacks, and be trusted late in games because he can shoot free throws. In close Big 12 games, that matters. You need guards who do not panic. I predict Leroy Blyden Jr. averages 13 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, and 2 steals per game. I think he becomes one of the steadiest players on the team. Dennis Parker Jr. gives Kansas another real scorer. He started his career at NC State, then went to Radford and became a major offensive piece. At Radford, he averaged over 18 points and almost 6 rebounds per game, so he is used to having the ball and being asked to score. Now at Kansas, he probably would not have to force as much, and that could actually help him. Parker is 6'6", strong, experienced, and physical enough for the Big 12. He can attack mismatches, score in the mid-range, get downhill, and defend with size. The question is whether he starts or becomes the 6th man, but either way, he is going to play because Kansas needs his scoring. I predict Dennis Parker Jr. averages 10 points, 4 rebounds, 1 assist, and 1 steal per game. I think he has some big scoring nights, but over the full season, he settles into that third option type of role. Dawes is the kind of player Kansas fans should like. He started his career at Rice, then transferred to Utah, and last season at Utah, he averaged 12 points, almost 9 rebounds, and 2 assists per game. So this is not just a depth pickup. Dawes has already produced in a high major setting, and the rebounding is the part that really matters. He's not the flashiest name on the roster, but he fills gaps. He rebounds, has size, has experience, and gives Kansas toughness. Every Big 12 team needs a guy who can survive physical games, and Dawes is that type of forward. The only question is health and mobility. Teams would try to pull him away from the basket and make him defend ball screens, but if Kansas gets steady minutes from him, he raises the floor of the defense. Reeves gives Kansas real size. He started at Duke, had some injury issues, then went to Charleston and finally got a bigger role. At Charleston, he averaged 11 points, almost 8 rebounds, and over 1 block per game, while shooting a high percentage around the rim. That is exactly what Kansas needs from him. He's 7'2", and his role is simple: protect the rim, rebound, screen, roll, and finish. He doesn't need to be a star. He just needs Kansas to give him a real center in the middle. The concern is health and mobility. Teams will try to put him away from the basket and make him defend ball screens, but if Kansas gets steady minutes from him, he raises the floor of the defense. I predict Reeves averages 7 points, 5 rebounds, and 1 block per game. If he stays healthy, he gives Kansas a real anchor. Rosario could quietly matter a lot. He came to Kansas from overtime elite, where he was known as a bigger guard with shooting upside. As a freshman at Kansas, he did not put up huge numbers, but he got real experience and showed flashes. He has size on the wing, some shooting ability, and already has a year in the program. Kansas does not need him to become a star. They need him to defend, hit open shots, and not make bad mistakes. If he becomes a dependable 3-and-D piece, his role could grow because Kansas needs wing shooting and defense. I predict Rosario averages 3 points, 1 rebound, and 1 steal per game. If the shot improves, his minutes could become more important than his numbers. Davion Adkins gives Kansas energy up front. He was a highly ranked forward out of prolific prep, and he has the kind of athletic tools to stand out right away. He can block shots, run the floor, catch lobs, and make plays around the rim. He might not play huge minutes right away, but he can change a game in short bursts. The big thing with Adkins is how fast he earns trust. Young bigs usually have to learn how to defend without fouling and be in the right spot every possession, but the athletic upside is real. I predict Davion Adkins averages 2 points, 2 rebounds, and 1 block per game. His best moments will come from effort plays, not set offense. Trent feels like a trust player. He played at Link Academy, one of those programs where you are practicing against real talent every day, and he comes in with a reputation as a tough wing who defends, rebounds, and plays the right way. He might not put up big numbers, but he can still help. The shot will decide how much he plays. If he can hit open threes, his role grows. If not, it gets harder, but his effort and defense give him a chance. I predict Trent averages 2 points, 1 rebound, and 1 assist per game. His role will be about defense and winning plays. Barnett is the shooter. He played at Mater Dei in California, and he was known as one of the better shooters in the class. He put up big scoring numbers in high school and gives Kansas a skill every good team needs. Even if he does not play a huge role early, shooting always gives you a chance. If a team packs the paint against Stokes or sits in a zone, Barnett is the kind of player Self can use to stretch the floor. His defense will decide how much he plays, but the shooting is his path. I predict Barnett averages 1 point per game. His role starts small, but his shooting gives him a clear path to minutes. Mbiya gives Kansas another big body behind Reeves. Before Kansas, he came from the ASVL system in France, where he showed real production as a young big. At Kansas, he has been more of a developmental piece, but the size and shot blocking potential are there. He probably will not need to score much. His job is to protect the rim, rebound, and give Kansas backup center minutes when needed. I predict Mbiya averages 1 point, 1 rebound, and 1 block per game. Mordini is probably more of a developmental big this season. He's 6'11" and played at Avon Old Farms, where he put up solid prep numbers as a scorer and rebounder. He gives Kansas size and depth, but I don't see him being a main rotation player right away. I predict Mordini averages 1 point and 1 rebound per game. Atticus Richmond is in a similar spot. He's a 6'8" forward who played at the Newman School, and he gives Kansas another strong body up front. He has some skill and rebounding ability, but this roster is crowded. He probably has to wait his turn and develop. I predict Atticus Richmond averages 1 point and 1 rebound per game. Thengvall is more of a depth guard and practice piece. He's a walk-on from Wichita, and on a roster this talented, it's hard to see him getting real minutes unless the game is already decided. But players like that still matter inside a program because they help in practice and keep the standard high. I predict Thengvall averages 0 points, 0 rebounds, and 0 assists per game. When you put it all together, Kansas has a clear core. Stokes is the star, Blyden is the steady guard, Kinney is the freshman playmaker, Parker is the extra scorer, Dawes brings toughness, Reeves protects the rim. Then Rosario, Adkins, Perry, Barnett, Mbiya, Mordini, Richmond, and Thengvall fill in the rest depending on matchups. The starting lineup could be Kinney, Blyden, Stokes, Dawes, and Reeves, but Parker could also start if Self wants more scoring. Rosario could push for minutes if his defense and shooting are good enough. That's the good thing about this roster. Kansas does not have to win one way. The best version of this team is fast. If Kansas gets stops and lets Kinney, Blyden, and Stokes push the ball, they can be dangerous in transition. Stokes running the floor is a problem. Reeves rolling to the rim is a problem. Parker filling the wing is a problem. This team has too much athleticism to play slow all the time. But the half-court offense is what will decide how far they go. Teams like Houston, Iowa State, and Baylor are going to make Kansas execute. That's where shooting matters. That's where guard play matters. That's where Stokes has to make good decisions. If the floor is spaced, Kansas can be elite. If the floor gets crowded, they'll have some ugly stretches. Defensively, the ceiling is high, but it will take time. Kansas has length, size, and athletes, but defense is about chemistry. They have to communicate, rotate, rebound, and avoid bad fouls. With this many new players, it probably won't look perfect early. I predict Kansas wins 27 games. They have too much talent to be average, and they have enough older players to keep the floor high. The difference between a good season and a special season will be shooting, health, and how fast Stokes becomes the guy. If it comes together by March, nobody is going to want Kansas in their bracket. A #1 freshman, 2 real guards, veteran scoring, front court size, and Bill Self is a dangerous mix. Kansas is not just building a talented roster, they're building a roster that can win in different ways, and that's usually what separates teams that look good on paper from teams that are still playing deep in the tournament.